August 15, 2025. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. Looked like there was a kind of a big sell-off, very gradual, well, a spike, and a kind of a gradual sell-off. Then it got really choppy, rallied, looked like maybe in two legs, and a kind of a choppy sell-off again, kind of closed near the low. The only economic data that came out today was around 5:30 Pacific Standard, which is close to about right here. And that was the core retail sales. Didn't really seem to do that much. And then at 7 o'clock, right about here, Pacific Standard, it was the preliminary consumer sentiment. But then there was some announcements. I think Trump is meeting with President Putin of Russia. And so that there was just some news blurbs coming out all day about how what they're going to discuss, etc. Overall, there weren't very many setups today, and it was kind of a low volume day. I really only marked one trade, and that's actually the only trade that I took. And a potential triple test, but I don't really know that it's a worthwhile trade because it was a little ambiguous. Despite if you look at it from afar, it looks like, okay, maybe you can find a bunch of second entries in here. But I tried to do that, and during the day, it just didn't seem like anything was really panning out. So after this first trade, I was just pretty happy with it. I wasn't trying to force anything, and I didn't really want to take any risky trades. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go into the chart right now, kind of discuss what I saw. Kind of uneventful day. So as this big push up, you could either draw it as a green up channel for break, or you can see as a sell-off, break of push of this pink up channel, test to the highs, and a sideways, sold off, break, test the low, another orange up channel, hits the sideways consolidation into regular trading hours. See if I can zoom in here. So right at the open, I'm thinking we're in a trading range. So overall price action, I'm thinking we're probably just going to be ranging today. So I'm just kind of watching and waiting. There's a new low, first entry short, and you do have kind of like a triple test at this point. One touch, two touch, three touch. It's right at the open, so I'm not taking any trades. So first entry short, prices move down, breaks through. I'm expecting this to be a fail breakout, prices to push back in. This gray down channel doesn't exist yet. Break this green, test the low. Looks like it's starting to reverse back up. You have a new high. First entry long technically right here, and the second entry long. So you could do that as a count, which I kept in mind, but I also saw it as a first entry long, pullback. You don't get a higher low or push back into this range. Price then continue moving. It starts moving down what I think is this. Well, I drew a trend line coming down and another trend line, turn it into a channel, but I only really have two confirmations right now. I don't believe this range is in play anymore. So you do have a new low here, say first entry short. Technically, I have a second entry short. This has a triple test, and I thought it was a lower high, but it was kind of an almost trade because you could say definitely this high is lower than these, but whether it's accounting for a setup, I thought it was a little ambiguous because if you said this new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long, you restart the count here, first entry long, pullback, second entry long, or did you think of it as first entry, pullback, second entry, and it is lower high? EMA rejection, third touch confirmation of this orange down channel and potential push down, but it felt a little ambiguous. I mean, as I said, it is technically a high that's lower than all these, but you'd be kind of selling into maybe a potential support area. I just didn't really like the setup, and I didn't really like the context. Prices move down, breaks below the orange down channel, starts continuing moving down. So at this point, I do draw this as a transparent red channel because it's one of the many channels I have. Just pretty much every trading day, I'm drawing lines all over the place to see what would pan out. And then as the day progresses, I delete it to make it less cluttered. And then at the end of the day, I just kind of look at what the actual trend lines and trading ranges I think are the real ones. It kind of helps my learning. So at the time, this was transparent because I said, okay, it's one touch, two touch, three touch. Try to make the bottoms kind of fit. So it looks like this right now. I don't have that much confidence in it yet because The high side I do because it does have 3 touches. Low side really only has 2 touches. So it's nothing I can really trust as a trend channel just yet. So it's a new low, first entry short, second entry short. It's not a good signal bar. You wouldn't have thought to go short right here. It's not even at the EMA, inside bar. And the doji is kind of like on the high side. Prices move down. It gets an EMA rejection here. So it's a new low, first entry short. And it just keeps going down. So you only have a first entry short, which is back up. So here, I think I do have a confirmation. 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, a small break. But this is also where the news came out. So I'm not, this is where the preliminary consumer sentiment comes out. So at this point, I do color it in. Color it as gray. It's a new low. It's a first entry short pullback. Technically, you have a second entry short here. In real time, I see this break of this orange up channel. Break, test the high. Okay, this orange up channel may have played out, but I'm thinking it might potentially also get up to the high side of this gray down channel. And for second entry short, this is a bad signal bar because it's inside. You get a confirmed second entry short here now, but it doesn't break below the EMA, so I'm staying away from this. Pushes through, so I'm actually looking like, okay, orange up channel could have played out. Second entry short, is there a lower high, ideally with a break below the EMA? Which is up. This could be a lower high, but it doesn't fall through. I chops around. I'm thinking this is a sideways trading range developing. Potential fail breakout, and coincidentally has a nice touch rejection here. So the fail breakout of this trading range, touch rejection, I like and trust this gray down channel resistance pretty well now. Looks like it's moving back into range. Just waiting, watching for another bounce. You don't quite get it. Looks like it's moving down this orange down channel. Technically, you have a first entry long. You technically have a second entry long here, but when you see this in real time, you're not thinking of going long. You're expecting a test of this orange down channel low. You get it and it gets reversed immediately back into the range, but it hasn't broken above the EMA, so there's no real trade here. Pushes up. Nice rejection off this gray down channel resistance again. So I really believe, okay, this is the trading trend channel that I'm going to be working with. Also want to point out, since this is clearly bearish, I'm looking for reasons to go short. On top of the reasons to go short, the high side or the resistance side of this gray down channel is shown to be more consistent than the low side. So if prices were to come back down to here, I'd be a little more reluctant to take a long, even though it's confirming pretty well. It's just because it'd be counter trend to the overall bias. So I felt it's just more safer looking for shorts. If it comes back down here, unless it's just a bulletproof setup, I'd be more reluctant to take a trade as opposed to a rejection off this gray down channel. I'd be more inclined to take even a little bit more aggressive trade. And so that's kind of this trade that gets set up here. So new high, it's a first entry long, pullback, second entry long. Second entry long here is failing. It's rejecting off this gray down channel resistance. I like that. New low, it's first entry short. Technically, it's a lower high and it broke below this. I like that. I wanted to make sure it cleared this trading range because it looks like it could be a push up, pullback, and another push up to the high side. So there's competing variables. Right now, there is a fail breakout, corresponding fail breakout. It could come back up to the high side, but I believe the strength of this resistance of this gray down channel is going to be much stronger and come into play more than the bullish push up. So I waited. This opened here, pushes up. It didn't break above the EMA, flushed down. I waited for the break below this doji, which you could consider a lower high or a hidden second entry short because it went above and came back below, broke below this, engulfed this guy. It broke below the trading range. I entered my trade. Fortunately, it came back, picked me up, flushed down. I was going for a 2-point scalp because there's enough room to get out before it hits here. And I get my 2-point scalp. So I was pretty happy. Wasn't going to try to go for a runner. Today is just a little bit noisy, but kind of following the rules and following this trading trend channel coming down pretty well. Pushes up. And chop sideways again, respecting this gray down channel resistance. I really like that. Kind of hits into the sideways consolidation, touches the EMA. Now I'm watching carefully because it looks like there's a good reason to go. If it touches the EMA and gets rejected, looks like I'm looking for reasons to go short. Pretty interested, but nothing is setting up really well. I chop sideways, obeying the trading range. Now continues down. Again, it's following, obeying this as resistance pretty well. But now it's the first break, first decisive break, because there's some small breaks here, which is up in this orange up channel. Technically it broke, made an attempt, I guess you could say, but it looks like it's just one big leg. Pushes down. I'm not really sure what was happening here. I think there was just some news updates about probably Trump and Putin. You have a second entry long here, but it's not a good signal bar. Pushes up. This trading range is starting to look a little weak. Doesn't look like price is really obeying it. It was early on, but now it doesn't seem to be all that important to be trading with trading range rules. Pushes down. Technically, you have a new high. I do the counter reset here instead of going first entry long. So it's like new localized high. First entry long, pull back. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but it's way, way below. I was thinking this break of this gray down channel broke, made a second attempt, and now it's going to test the low, and it has. But that doesn't mean there's a long setup coming up. Just waiting. Pushes up on this green up channel. Unfortunately, there was no way to enter this. Kind of creates a rejection right up here, so it looks like there's some kind of resistance here. I was thinking this might be developing into a larger trading range. Pushes back below the EMA. Technically, you have a first entry long here, but it's also break with this pink down channel, test the low. I need a second entry long, ideally above the EMA, and you don't quite get that. Two dojis in a row. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but it feels a little far from the setup. First entry long pullback, second entry long. This is your signal bar. The follow through trigger kind of close below it. It's not very convincing. So now the only thing I could hope for is a higher low. You could also say it's a new low here. First entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short here, but it looks more like a visual first entry short. Pullback. Maybe a second entry short here, but this is inside bar. So right here, it's just ambiguous. Prices just kind of continue chopping sideways. And I'm noticing that this looks like it's creating lower highs and higher lows. So it looks like it's kind of getting crushed. Starts pushing out. I'm wondering if this resistance is going to hold. It looks like it. I think there might be this green up channel, but I'm not too sure about it. It just gets noisy here. Technically, you have a first entry long pullback, second entry long, it's a bad signal bar. New high, first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here. This red channel doesn't exist yet, so it's bouncing off of nothing at the time. Pushes up and out. Continues up. I drew this high side of this red up channel as a trend line first. Try to match the bottom. So I trust the high side a little bit more. It's confirming more than the low side, which only has one touch, two touch. So now this could be a third touch. That is the third touch. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm in a trend channel. There's a new high, first entry long. Could there be a second entry long here, but it's not a good signal bar, so I don't have an order ready. Second entry long confirms here. I want a higher low now. You don't get it, and it breaks down and through. Kind of gets choppy. It's a new low, it's a first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short, but you're shorting into this triple test potential resistance area, which corresponds to this initial resistance, but now it looks like it's a support. As you can see, I do have a trend line drawn here. I turned it into a channel, but I didn't color it in because it only has two confirmations right now, so I don't trust it as a channel, but it's something to keep in mind. At least that's what I was thinking at the time. Potential triple test, but I'm not that keen on it. Pushes up, it would have worked, but it quickly reverses back down. It kind of confirms this transparent down channel, but there's no clean setups right now. Fail breakout, push to the low. Looks like it's reversing. I'm expecting maybe a touch of the high. I was thinking this is in a green up channel right now. It could test the high, ideally hit the top side, and then give me ideally a second entry short or a lower high. but it doesn't really quite do that. Again, it's touching this. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, this might actually be a range, kind of an ugly range. So I'm just going to go ahead and color it in for now, thinking that this could be in play. Low side, I was trying to make match down here. So then there's no overshoot here, but it kind of neglects the touches up here. So I wasn't that excited about it. You have a visual first entry short, second entry short, potentially a second entry short here, visual, rejection off. So I actually should have marked this, but at the time I wasn't too enthusiastic about it. But there could be a potential trade here. There is enough for a 1 point scalp right here. And then prices continue moving down. I chop sideways, entering the last 30 minutes for sure. It's kind of just chopping sideways. It's a sideways break of this yellow down channel, so it doesn't feel as decisive. It's a little ambiguous now, because whenever you have a horizontal break of an up channel or down channel, it's unclear now if it's going to actually test the extreme. So I'm not sure this is going to come back down and test the low side of this kind of ambiguous yellow down channel. But it actually does, which is kind of remarkable. Goes back down, pushes, no setup. It enters the last 10 minutes, kind of pushes into the close. So other than the one setup that I saw that I took the trade on, maybe there's another setup here for the second entry short, which you could justify as kind of a fourth touch rejection, break of the green up channel, test the high once, twice. Maybe there's another push down. So this could be a potential trade here. Other than that, kind of a slow, low volume day. So pretty much, well, I'm pretty happy with just the one trade I was profitable on. I didn't think it was too particularly risky. So glad to just walk away green and kind of call it from there. So hopefully that was helpful.